You're watching WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Good morning, it's 7:56. Riley, I guess we have to enjoy today's weather because we have big changes in store for this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. Summer-like weather sticks around today, but cooler weather comes in for the weekend, and also some rain chances and maybe even some snowflakes too. Looking outside, it's beautiful right now. Sunny sky, temperature holding in the lower 60s. South wind at about 10, visibility looking good if you're getting on the roads, no issues there. Overall, though, the pattern's staying pretty quiet for us. A little cooler to the northwest, but typical for this time of year. St. Cloud, 62 right now, sunshine bright in Hinckley, even over toward Rice Lake and Hayward. In the upper 50s to lower 60s for us. Overall, the wind will start to pick up today, too, from the south. It stays breezy like it was yesterday, so getting the kids ready for school. Another T-shirt and shorts kind of day out there as we hit around 80 degrees this afternoon.
The entire state of Wisconsin will honor 2 fallen officers this weekend. The governor has ordered all flags to fly at half-staff starting at sunrise tomorrow morning. That's the same day as the funeral for officers Emily Breidenbach and Hunter Scheel. They were shot and killed last weekend in Barron County. We'll bring you that service live tomorrow afternoon starting at 1 p.m. You can watch it on our streaming service, CBS News Minnesota. Just a reminder, we'll have another news and weather update for you in the next half hour. Meanwhile, we'll give you another live look over the city of St. Paul. Should be a nice bright start. Make sure you have those sunglasses handy today. You will definitely need them. Coming up today on Mid-Morning, we're getting some easy spring meal ideas with Let's Dish and where you can go to take part in a puppet fashion show. It's coming up at 9. Coming up today on Mid-Morning, where you can take part in a puppet fashion show.
That sounds fun. Plus, a new survey finds that people are coming to downtown Minneapolis. Actually, it's surpassing pre-pandemic levels. So we want your feedback. We want to know some of your favorite events downtown.
And here we are. It's April, which means we are headed into orange barrel season. But where do all those orange cones and barrels go during our long winters? We're going to talk about that next. And of course, we got to break down our forecast because it's always changing too.
Yeah, and you're going to want to get outside today for one more day of those 80-degree temps before the weather becomes more Minnesota spring-like. Riley will have the full details coming up in just a minute.
Right now on WCCO Mid-Morning, rising rivers threatening to flood parts of the state where waters are already flowing over and what's helping the situation.
Plus, we're talking about the rules in the sky. Who gets the armrests? Should you bring food on board? An etiquette expert has the answers.
Looking to spruce up your menu for spring? Let's Dish is here with some quick and easy meal ideas.
And move over Minnesota nice. We're talking with a roller derby star of the new movie Minnesota Mean.
You're watching WCCO Mid-Morning with Heather Brown and AJ Hilton. Now we're talking.
Hey, thanks for joining us for Mid-Morning, also streaming on CBS News Minnesota. I'm AJ Hilton.
And I'm Heather Brown. Good to be with you today as this spring meltdown has our rivers on the rise. Seeing a lot of images come in from northwestern Minnesota this week. We have some drone video out from Big Stone County. Yeah, Lake Three Rivers flooding there. You can see the high water covering the land, and in fact, some roads as well there. And then if you head inland, some of these farms look like islands. This is in Wilkin County. You got crews there working hard to clear the culverts and open up the ditches to keep that water flowing.
It's a very similar situation in Clay County. This is closer to Fargo. I mean, look how far the water has reached the buildings on that farm and equipment now being used to pump it out, some of that water out of there. And we also know that crews in Fargo are working to fill 200,000 sandbags to hold off the rising Red River. The Salvation Army is up there helping feed the flood crews. They're ready to help across the entire region.
Thank you for watching WCCO, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota. I'm Pauline Lee. Shayla has the week off. We want to get straight to some breaking news that we're following right now out of Minneapolis. Not a lot of details just yet, but police tell us they are investigating a shooting involving 2 men at the Metro Transit station on 35W and Lake Street in Minneapolis. Our Reg Chapman is there at the scene right now. Reg, what have you learned?
Now, it's The 4 on WCCO with Aaron Hassanzadeh and Jeff Wagner.
Thanks for joining us on WCCO and streaming on CBS News Minnesota. Settle in for a packed packed hour ahead.
If your weekend plans include any of our area rivers, a big warning today.
2 police officers will be buried in Wisconsin tomorrow. How the communities are preparing to say goodbye.
Minnesota bride is now turning 30 years old. How the wedding industry has changed through the decades.
But first, our top story.
Enjoy the sunshine now because it is back to the cold this weekend. Mike is tracking our next weather factors. Kind of a letdown here, Mike.
Agreed. Yeah, the party's almost over, but you do have 12 more hours to party in the sunshine and the warmth. Well, at least the warmth. Our next weather tower is green, even though skies are mostly sunny right now because there is a little bit of rain on radar.
You're watching The 4 on WCCO, a different kind of newscast.
Hello and welcome back to The 4 on WCCO.
We'll be taking a deeper look at some of today's biggest headlines, starting in space.
The European Space Agency is headed to Jupiter. The spacecraft launched this morning in South America. It is called the Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer Mission, or JUICE. Cool name. This will be the first spacecraft to ever orbit a moon in our solar system. It'll take 8 years for JUICE to reach Jupiter, and it'll arrive in July of 2031. It will then spend about 3.5 years orbiting the planet and its moons.
For sure.
Thanks for joining us here today on The 4.
WCCO News at 5 starts right now.
A dog attack turns deadly. What we've learned about the man who was taking care of the animals but didn't own them then.
The weather party is over. Coming up next, rain and then eventually snow. But don't gas up the snowblower quite yet.
Governor Walz met with city and state leaders in Hastings this morning to talk about flood preparations. We'll show you what's being done to get ready for the rising rivers.
And residents come together to remember 2 officers killed in the line of duty.
You just keep one step in front of the other.
How they're preparing for tomorrow's funeral.
This is WCCO News, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
A man mauled by 4 dogs has died. He's been identified as 22-year-old Desmond Trawick. He was attacked in the backyard of his home in Brooklyn Center yesterday. WCCO's Jennifer Merrily has the latest on what we've learned.
Neighbors tell us they heard screams for help coming from this home on Halifax Avenue North on Thursday afternoon.
You're watching WCCO News, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
The Barron County community is planning to honor 2 of its own. Tomorrow morning, thousands will gather to remember fallen police officers Emily Breidenbach and Hunter Scheel. The 2 were shot and killed during a traffic stop last Saturday in Barron County. The man who shot them also died. WCCO's Adam Duxter is live from Cameron High School, where tomorrow's visitation will take place. Adam, you've spoken with community members today. What did they share with you?
Didn't put away your coat.
We'll be trading in 80s for wind, rain, and eventually some snow this weekend. We'll help you stay ahead of what's next.
Then,
how the Barron County community is planning to honor 2 fallen officers tomorrow.
And what police are saying about a shooting at one of the busiest transit stations in the metro. Plus, a vision to create a safe space for veterans becomes a reality.
Part of my heart is here. It's because I could always come here. This was a home away from home.
WCCO News starts now with breaking news.
This breaking news coming out of Eden Prairie tonight. 1 person has died in this house fire near the Eden Brook Conservation Area. Police there confirmed the victim is an adult. You can see just how extensive the damage is, and part of the roof has collapsed. Firefighters say the flames were so big the homes next door were damaged as well, but no word on what sparked this tragic fire. We'll have the latest late-breaking details tonight on our news at 10. Our warm stretch is creating some travel troubles in parts of the state. Minnesota State Patrol tweeted out this video from northwest Minnesota. You can see that most of Highway 9 south of the town of Ada is underwater. State Patrol is also advising not to use GPS up there so you don't end up in, quote, deep trouble. Back here in the metro, the next weather tower is shining green, which means some rain and snow is on the way. which is hard to believe when many towns were at 80 degrees, some pushing 90 this week.
Yeah, and we had fire risk earlier in the week as well. In fact, we still have that. So definitely competing weather factors this evening. The flood alerts continue. In fact, we're getting more and more of those river flood warnings in and around the metro, and that will only increase over the next week. In fact, coming up in about 20 minutes, I'll break down when the metro area rivers will crest. And then in northern Minnesota, if you're headed up to the cabin this weekend, get ready potentially for some road closures and some localized flooding as well.